busy when I tell you that. I've got with me in the studio a very prominent, a very special, a very dedicated, committed Grenadian daughter of the soil. And she's here to talk with us about two things, two initiatives that she's spearheading. Firstly, she's got a book. She's an educator and a training facilitator by profession. So she's going to be introducing to us a new book that she's done and also introducing us to a workshop that she's doing. I'm speaking of none other than my good friend Roslyn A. Douglas.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. Good morning, listeners and viewers.
Okay, so before we go any further, tell us about Roslyn. Who's Roslyn?
Roslyn is someone who is dedicated to the field of education and empowering others. That's really at the heart of it.
And most importantly, Grenadian.
And I am Grenadian.
Of course.
The second thing I would mention would be my faith in Jesus Christ. That's something that's very dear to me.
Okay. Lovely.
Yeah.
So you're grounded.
Yes.
All right. Educational perspectives of 45 guided reflections. Tell us about that. That's your new book.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. This is the printed version that's available here in Grenada. I will give my contact information throughout the course of this conversation. But why did I do this? I created this because I wish I had it as a new teacher. You could be qualified, you could go to the professional development sessions, but sometimes as a new teacher, there's just certain things that you don't know. And then your fellow co-workers in the staff room, they're busy getting things done. And meetings can just be more administrative. How is this student doing? We have this extracurricular activity happening. These reports are due. And then sometimes we forget that we need to stop for a moment and allow for conversation. Allow for the new teachers to be able to ask questions and then also be a mentor to us, to be a mentor to the new teacher. And I'm saying us because I'm remembering that time and space. And so what is this? This has some perspectives about education generally. And within it, it has about 45 guided questions that can help with some discussion. So for example, describe a moment when you felt truly connected with your class. What contributed to that connection? Yeah. Then we talk about the SWOT analysis in terms of what are the strengths and the weaknesses of you being an educator, and it will give those in the staff room an opportunity to chat about that. Share a challenging encounter you had with a parent. What did you learn from the experience? Yeah. And so there are several other questions in here, 45 that I believe are appropriate. And I'm very proud of it, but I think it's a great resource.
Well, I think it's very timely too, because as you say that, I can remember vividly my very first day as a teacher. At the Hermitage Government School, the now Speaker of the House, Leo Cato, he was one of the senior teachers at that school, the Hermitage Government School. And I remember the principal at the time, Ms. Greta Franklin, saying, introduce me to the class. It was standard grade 3, or standard 3. But she said, go 2 classes back and look at Mr. Cato's delivery.
Yes.
For a while.
Yes.
But I am thinking, oh, well, I'm bright, I'm brilliant, I can teach. And when I looked at Leo, and there was another teacher on the stage, Mr. Kalai Peters, we call him Zando, and I realized, but hey, I can't teach. I can't do this. I have all the knowledge here, but teaching is a different thing. So, but luckily for us at the time, we had what we call NISTEP, where on Fridays we would go and have this teacher training sessions with Clyde Belfon and a whole lot of others. So they prepared us, but now I'm not hearing much about that. So this book es muy importante.
Muy importante.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. And I would say part of it is let's look at it on the other side. I do think that when you're coming in after you've gone to some sessions and you remember how you were treated as a student and you want to make that happen for your class, I think that there needs to be an openness and discussion, because the newer teachers have skills for technology and how to incorporate AI in their planning, lesson planning, not necessarily grading because you have to read it yourself, but they do come in with a skill set that the veteran teachers may not have. I remember during COVID, just a few of us knew how to use Zoom. So there was a great scramble for those who've been teaching for some time, how to use it, how to set it up, how to share a screen. And so, we're coming in with this skill set and others don't. So I do think there's an opportunity to exchange ideas. For me, I think one other thing that I would say would be the onboarding.
Yeah.
The onboarding for teachers is really important. Really make sure that they understand how to use the technology in the classroom. Make sure you're providing support for them should something go wrong with it. As these are things that can happen. And then be deliberate. Be deliberate in asking, how are you? How was this week? These type of things can be really encouraging to a new teacher.
You're talking from the administration staff, the principal and the management staff.
Yes, don't put the onus on the new teacher alone. I believe it's the responsibility of the administrators to create an environment where they feel that they can thrive.
And it's so critical in this juncture that that approach is taken, because what you'd find happening nowadays, if the new teacher is not technologically savvy, the students are.
The students are.
So the students could be ahead of you in terms of technology, and you can be in a whole lot of crap.
But I think that if you create an environment with your students, they can teach you. Be open to that.
Yeah.
Because they would might have told me, like, oh, why don't you try this? And we don't like, this makes a lot of sense. Let me write that down. So I think it is really, truly that wonderful 360-degree environment where you are incorporating evidence-based teaching strategies. But this here, it really, truly is to encourage dialogue. Let's talk. Because sometimes you could sit there at your desk feeling really overwhelmed, and everyone is just busy with, this report is due, this is due, and all of that, but you don't really take the time to converse with that.
So a question that I should have asked before. You're currently a lecturer?
No. So transitioning, but I have taught at the tertiary level primarily, T.A. Marshall Community College, and I also taught at St. George's University.
Okay, and what's your specialty?
English, writing courses.
Okay, all right. Okay, so
hence the book.
How tasking was this for you?
It was therapeutic.
Okay.
It was therapeutic because it was with the intention of hoping that administrators and teachers, principals, deans, department chairs, all of them could really have it as a tool to add it as part of your meetings, if at general. But my greater vision is for there to be a teacher support group where we can meet monthly and talk about it. And so I do have the option of that. So if anyone is interested in purchasing this from me, you can call me at 538-7789, 538-7789. And you can also email me at iconleadergnd@gmail.com.
That's ICON.
ICON.
Right. iconleadergnd@gmail.com. Folks, get your copies of this. Teachers, you can.
60.
It's only 60 US, right?
EC. See how nice?
And that's a gift. And before we move on to our next subject matter, have you attempted to get this on the regional market?
That's the goal. I had the pleasure of sharing this resource with the Grenada Union of Teachers Leaders, and it was warmly received. And I'm this afternoon also have another session to promote it where there will be people from in the region as well. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah,
but these things take time, but here we are.
Yeah, here we are. Here we are. And on a different but attaching level, we have a workshop coming up, and that workshop is on toxicity in the workplace. Tell us about this.
Yes. I think that it's time for us to start having a conversation about the impact of toxicity in the workplace. It is having detrimental effects on people who really just want to go to work and do their job. Examples of toxicity can range from bullying, mobbing, taking personal items from a person's desk. You may not necessarily be hitting them, but when you're passing them in the hallway, oh, that shoulder just gets hit. Oh, I didn't see you there. Standing ominously outside of their desk or while they're at the water cooler or just anywhere, throwing words. I found that the most naughtiest of persons tend to be good in with high authority, and that's why they think they can get away with it. And they are the biggest bullies. So we have to start really looking at it. So what do I have? I have Dr. Francis Martin. He's going to be presenting on stress and your health, how stress can impact your body.
You couldn't have found a more appropriate person for that.
He's the best.
Doc, good morning. Good morning, bro. Best friend.
Good. And then I also have Dr. Trevor Stephen, and he will be going into the root of toxicity and its impact. And then I will be giving a toolkit for HR managers. Those who attend will get a presentation that they can share with their staff that outlines the different behaviors that can lead to toxicity and how they can address it.
There must be a plethora of other reasons or other subjects for you to design a workshop on. Why this one?
Because it's time. I have done on other topics. I remember some years ago I did one on getting ready to enter college, how to survive college.
I did that interview.
That's right.
Yeah, I did that interview.
And a whole other set of others. But this one, it's time to talk about it, because companies have HR managers who have so much to do. They have so much on their plate. But their primary responsibility is for the company first. But I argue that unless we start to address toxicity in the workplace, it's going to impact the image of the company. I'm sure you've heard of places like, oh, you don't want to work there.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to go in that department. Let me tell you, you don't, and that's bad. And so I think the thing about it is pay attention to who's getting away with what, and that will define the culture of the place.
Yeah, I get you. And having said that, have you sort of done a sort of analysis of workplaces in Grenada and decided that, hey, we need this now?
I think the research speaks volumes as to the impact of it, and I'd rather focus on the research. And the research says that it brings down productivity. You have a high turnover rate. You're moving in the direction of people getting ill, many sick days, which ultimately still impacts the company.
Productivity and everything.
Yes, and so we really need to start looking at it because it's gone too far.
This is critical because I know from personal experiences, I've worked in a number of places, and there are some places that when you look at your watch and you see it's 3:30, oh my goodness, time to leave already, because the environment there is so exhilarating, so good. And then there are other places that you walk and you say, boy, that time going slow as well.
I'm sure there are persons who woke up this morning when their alarm went off, they swung their legs to the side of the bed, and they're like, I don't want to go in.
Yeah.
Do you want to be a manager of a place where your employees feel like that? Yeah. That's the question.
As trivial as it may sound to some, but this is important to the core of business and success in business, yeah?
It truly is. It truly is. So this will be on the 25th of July. That's this Thursday. It is on Zoom, and you can send me a WhatsApp at the same number, 538-7789, 538-7789. You can also send me an email at iconleadergnd@gmail.com, and I will send you the registration link, and then we'll proceed from there.
So you notice both ties in, right? Both of them tie in well. The other one is teaching you how to get into the classroom, and it's going to have a lot to do with technology. And then this one is on Zoom, which is a very technological approach to it.
It's interesting that you say that. I think while the book doesn't deal heavily with toxicity in schools, the topic is discussed. But I think one of the core reasons as to why there may be tension amongst staff boils down to autonomy.
Yeah.
You've been a teacher. Think about it. You have been in the class teaching. What you say goes. You took the time to prepare for your class. You're dealing with different personalities. You're engaging with your students. You're talking to them. They don't question you. All imagine now 30 people, 20 to 30 people with that same mindset who have had full autonomy for several hours a day, several weeks, and they're in a room now.
Yeah.
And somebody has to submit.
Yeah.
And that's where you get that pushback of, who do you think you're talking to?
Yeah. Don't talk to me like that.
Don't talk to me like that.
Yeah.
But it's just that you haven't had a chance to decompress. And this is the next thing that I think is important for administrators to do. Don't have a staff meeting directly after somebody comes out of class or after a very long day, because they're in that drive. Yeah. They're in that go mode. Yeah. And then sometimes they have to check themselves, because your idea may be really great, but they may not go along with it. And you have to be okay with that. But that comes into not giving us time to come down or creating an environment where you can do so. That could lead to...
So in essence, staff meetings of this nature, except it's something pressing, they should be done on Saturdays or Sundays.
Well, no, that's family time. You've got to figure that out. Maybe that's why they ask for having a day off every now and then to just decompress, to have that time, if possible.
All right, so folks, you heard it. Get your copies, a copy of the books, the copies of the book, okay? And I think someone is trying to...
but I'll give my number again.
Okay, do that.
538-7789. 538-7789. And my email is iconleadergnd@gmail.com. The name of the book is Educational Perspectives plus 45 Guided Reflections. It's ideal for small group professional development sessions. It is available on Amazon, but in Grenada I have the printed version, and you can get that from me.
I almost said doctor, because you're one step away from being Dr. Roslyn Douglas. Folks, get your copy of the book and also contact Ms. Douglas. Be a part of that Zoom workshop on Thursday. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
The pleasure is always mine.
It's always good to see you.
Always a pleasure to see you too. Folks, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we've got